Make sure to do the corners properly. Now this is the same Kanta who is cleaning the house at Mr. Jain Saab, who was standing in the same queue as her to vote, and when once she is back to work, the master says that you need to clean the house properly. Here is your advanced Kanta, but don't make a habit of it. Now Kanta, because you know her daughter was not keeping well and she wanted her to take to the doctor, she asked for some advance, and that's the reason she couldn't take off despite the fact her daughter was not feeling well, because if she will not go to work, she will not get the money. If she will not get the money, she cannot take her daughter to the doctor. But the moment when the employer was giving her the money, she gave her a free piece of advice also, that today I am giving you the money, but don't make it a habit. Now next thing that we are going to discuss is the book Jhutan, which was written by Om Prakash Valmiki. Now you will think that when we are discussing civics, why is ma'am discussing about a book? But yes, I have a fact that is related to this, so that is why I am discussing that there was a book written Jhutan, and there is a reason behind this title also, which you will understand once I have discussed whatever I am going to do. Inequality on the basis of caste is commonly seen in rural areas, but there are certain matrimonial advertisements which show that the educated minds of urban Indians is also not free. Om Prakash Valmiki is a famous Dalit writer. Why Dalit? Because Dalit is a caste, a scheduled caste, that is why he is a famous Dalit writer. In his autobiography, a book that is written by the author himself or herself, narrating all the true life incidents, is an autobiography. So Jhutan is the name of the book that Om Prakash Valmiki has written by his own. He talks about his experiences when he was growing up as a Dalit boy, because he has shared his whole life experience in that book. Om Prakash was made to sweep the school and the playground, and this only came to an end when his father, who happened to be passing by, saw his son sweeping. He was sending his son to get education in the school. Instead, just because he was a Dalit boy, he was asked to sweep the floor, he was asked to sweep the playground. And what happens, one day his father was passing by and he saw that I am sending my son to the school to receive education, but what is happening with him in the school is something which I cannot ignore. And whatever happened to Mr. Om Prakash during his life, he has narrated each and everything in that book. If you get a chance, order this book and read. You will get to understand that how many types of inequalities exist in this world. The second story which we will be going to discuss is about Mr. and Mrs. Ansari, who were looking for a rented apartment in a city. They had money, so they had no problem in paying out the rent. They visited the first apartment. When the landlady found out their name, she made an excuse that she could not rent the house to someone because they eat meat and other people in that building were non-vegetarians. So she made that excuse. Same excuse was made in the second building, same excuse was made in the third apartment, and finally the property dealer told them that they have to change their names and they should now call themselves as Mr. and Mr. Kumar. But the Ansaris were reluctant to do this and they decided to look for some more. What have you understood? Mr. and Mrs. Ansari belongs to a particular community to whom people are not even ready to rent out their apartments. Why? What is wrong? A person may be just the follower of any religion. How does that matter? Should we constrain our minds to this thing that this person belongs to this particular religion and I am not going to let this person in my house? Or this person is just belonging to a Dalit community and that's the reason that he or she has no right to receive the education. Despite the fact that all these things are now abolished and they are treated as punishments, they are treated as crime in the constitution, still people do follow them. So this was the story about Mr. and Mrs. Ansari which we discussed. And Om Prakash Valmiki was treated badly because of his caste, and Ansari couple, they face the problem of finding a house on rent because of their religion. When persons are treated unequally, their dignity is violated. So that means that people should be treated nicely irrespective of this fact, to whichever caste they belong, to whichever religion they belong. Now we will talk about equality in Indian democracy. Equality is given to everyone by the Constitution of India. I told you this thing, that Indian Constitution abolishes any kind of such malpractices, but this surely does not mean that inequality ceases to exist. I say this thing, that it is a punishable offence in the Constitution of India to practice such things, but that does not mean that such things are not there in this world. It is practiced, and it is openly practiced. People are not even afraid that what will happen if I am caught doing these things. And unlike the past, there are many laws that ensure that people are treated with dignity. So earlier this was not the scene, but now government itself is very aware of all these things, and it has also made some laws that make sure that anybody who is doing such things is put behind the bars. Provisions in Indian Constitution that ensures equality. Now when I talk about that there are provisions, what are the provisions? That every person is equal before the law. No person can be discriminated on the basis of their caste, culture, religion, sex, gender, place of birth, etc. Every person has access to all the public places, including hotels, shops and markets. Earlier this was the scene that people who were belonging to some particular caste and community were not allowed to enter the temple, but now this is no more a scenario, and untouchability has been abolished. In fact, it is a punishable offence. Now, how does government implement equality? The government says that equality should be practiced. Now, what it does? Through many government schemes and programs and through laws.